I want to talk to Baroness Bennett now, Natalie Bennett, who's the former leader of the Green Party, because Ed Miliband's vow that Britain will see a green jobs bonanza has actually been rubbished by Sir Tony Blair's think tank. The net zero chief, Ed Miliband, says that 650,000 jobs will be created by 2030 in the pre-election manifesto. Now, the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change says it's more likely to be something like 350,000 people. Baroness Bennett, welcome to Talk this afternoon.
Lovely to be with you, Peter.
Before we get into this story, I'm sure you would want to condemn the actions of Hamas terrorists in regard to the Bibas family.
I think it's absolutely terrible what the Bibas family is going through, and the absolute greatest sympathy with them for what they're suffering, and indeed for all the families of the hostages. I went to a meeting at the House and heard from some of the hostages' families, and all we can say is our heart totally goes out to them for what they're going through.
Thank you for that. On this particular story, it seems that there'll be far fewer green jobs than we expected there to be. What do you make of this?
Well, I think this is, it's worth looking at the source of this story, which is the Sir Tony Blair Institute, which is, like its titular head, very much stuck in the 20th century. And this report is very much focusing on manufacturing jobs and talking about the challenges which undoubtedly exist in terms of the difficulties of manufacturing electric cars in the UK, the difficulties and the challenges of manufacturing solar panels or wind turbines. What this doesn't really focus on is some of the actions that we desperately need to take, both in terms of cutting our carbon emissions, but also in terms of public health. The big thing is the cleanest, greenest, best possible energy you can have. The greenest job you might think of is insulating homes, ensuring everyone has a warm, comfortable, affordable to heat home, and cuts the. But this report doesn't really focus on that.
There is this crossover period, though, isn't there, Natalie, where you've got to have the backup for fossil fuel power as well as the renewables at the same time. You can't have one without the other. And also in the future we have, it's just a fact that the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow.
No, and there are plenty of solutions to that. One of the interesting ones being what's known as vehicle to grid, whereby we can actually use electric cars as part of the storage for the grid. And that's something that's the kind of technology that actually also helps people. Again, people get paid for that. So it's,
what about small nuclear reactors?
No, I can guarantee to you that small nuclear reactors are not going to happen in the UK. I'm afraid it's
not going to happen.
No.
Why is that?
Because it's totally an unproven technology. It's not been delivered. We've seen how nuclear is incredibly expensive and incredibly slow, and all the issues that our existing new nuclear plants that we're going to get. There's a
lot of research and development going into it. The government seems to be putting a lot of stall, or that you clearly believe they're wrong to do so.
And they're also very much wrong to be putting money into carbon capture and storage, which is a technology that is simply failing all around the world, has failed to deliver. If you take the case study of somewhere of a plant in Canada where it was supposed to be collecting 90% of the carbon dioxide and is collecting less than 60% of the carbon dioxide. The government is focusing on these big, shiny technological solutions when what they should be doing is looking at warm, comfortable, affordable to heat homes for everyone, insulation, low carbon heating for homes, and also things like green jobs, buses. We're seeing a massive collapse in bus services, particularly in some of the poorest areas of the country. Driving a bus, restoring a bus service, that's a green job that's absolutely crucial to people.
I'm delighted you're talking about buses, because I mean the vast majority of journeys in this country are done by car, but if you use public transport you're likely to use a bus, and you wouldn't know that from the London-centric media that goes on and on and on and on about the trains, which are rubbish, but nonetheless buses are something I love talking about and we should talk more about it. Natalie, just a final question. How many green jobs do you predict will actually be created by 2030?
Well, of course, it depends absolutely on what steps the government takes. And what we're still waiting to hear is that the key action, as I've been focusing on, is insulation, home energy efficiency. We've got a cost of living crisis. To cut people's bills by ensuring they've got a warm, comfortable, affordable to heat home. Those are jobs, and they're jobs that are distributed right around the country. They're jobs that have a real opportunity for small businesses to set up, to get going if we have stable long-term government policies that people can trust and rely in. There's decades of work to be done in insulating our homes, and everyone benefits. And we've got a real problem with public health. Everyone's focusing on how many people of working age are ill, giving them healthy homes is just one more step to really tackle that, as well as the climate benefits and the cost of living benefits.
Natalie, thank you. That's Baroness Bennett, Natalie Bennett, who's the former leader of the Green Party. That's on Ed Miliband's ambitious pledge to deliver 650,000 green jobs by 2030. I'd be very surprised if it happened. I'd be very surprised if 350,000 people, which is what the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change says will happen.